It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron back in the host chair this morning. Alongside me is my man Siege. Good morning, Siege. How you doing, man?
Good morning, B-Ron. Happy hump day.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here with you. Just like last night on SimWorld TV broadcast, got to call the game together. It's always fun. Always fun to be back here hosting on SimWorld Today. Let's jump right into it. Starting with the SCBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals Game 1 was last night. And the Celtics and Pacers went at it, man. They really did. It was a really great game. Ended up going into overtime thanks to a Jaylen Brown shot that got them to overtime. And late in the final seconds, but in the OT period, it was Jason Tatum who hit the big three-pointer that really put them over the edge and allowed them to win Game 1, 133-128. Siege, do you think that this is a sign of things to come for the series overall in terms of how competitive and how intense these games can be?
Can be, yes. Do I think it's a sign of things to come? Yes, in terms of the Celtics winning. And look, B-Ron, I'm a Celtics hater. I'll say it out loud. I don't like the Celtics. Just to put it in perspective for you, B-Ron, here's my list of what outcomes I'd like for this year's NBA Finals. 1, the Wolves or Mavericks win. 2, the Pacers win. 3, the government rules basketball to be unconstitutional. 4, a meteor hits the earth. 5, I go blind before the NBA Finals. And 6, the Celtics win. That's how much I don't really like the Celtics. But that being said, the only thing that this is a sign of things to come is the Celtics winning. Yeah, the Pacers might put up another good game or two, but I'll also promise you there'll be at least one game where the Celtics beat them by almost 30, if not 30. Look, all credit to the Pacers, great young team. I don't think this is going to be, a series that we're going to be wondering who's going to come out on top. I think it's going to be the Celtics, as much as it pains me to say that.
So, while I do agree with you in the fact that I think it is going to be the Celtics that wins the series, I've said it over the course of the week, leading up to the series proper now, the Pacers are going to make this difficult on the Celtics. They're not going to just roll over and let it be a cakewalk for the Celtics. I don't see that happening. They have a lot of talent on that team, and I feel like they are definitely closer than what many people think in terms of talent to possibly even beating the Celtics. I do think it goes 7 games. I do think that all the games will be decided by, let's say, 20 or less points. Just to throw a number out there at you. Just because I think
it's still a blowout, though. You know what I mean? Like, you beat by 20 points. What's the fun there? It's 20 points. That's not. Come on.
I'd say 30 or more I'd say 30 or more in the pros. In the pros, I'd say 30 or more.
Your team loses by 26 points, and you don't feel like you got blew out.
No,
you don't feel like you.
It's not football. This isn't football, Siege.
26 points is a lot of points. That's a lot of points.
In football, sure. Football, sure, it's blow, but in basketball, I personally know. Look, I'm gonna get some flack, but it's fine. But look, back on track here. I do think that Pacers are gonna make it difficult. I do think it's a sign of things to come for the series overall. I really do. Let's keep it moving though. We got some SimWorld prep action. Talk about a triple dipper here, if you will. Norman Nations has committed to the University of Connecticut to join the Huskies. I think this is a move that I'm a little, I was a little concerned about, but I want to know your thoughts.
Look, I love Norman Nation. Norman Nation, he's that guy. He hasn't quite ever got the respect he deserves, in my opinion. Last year was because, Lakeshore wasn't one of the better teams, so I don't think a lot of people looked at how good he really was and how many big shots he made and how he could make any moment look like a cool, calm, collected moment. But Norman Nations is that guy. This year it's because, he's playing with that guy we all know, D'Angelo Jordan. But his big shot ability, his maturity on the floor, his ability to score at 3 levels, underrated defender. And I'll tell you what, I actually love UConn for him. I love that choice. UConn does have a history of having some pretty great guards to come through there. Kemba Walker being one. You talk about Rip Hamilton. They've got some guys that have come through there. I think he'll get to team up with another SimWorld Prep alum in Fareed Redmond, and I think that's kind of a crazy backcourt when you really look at it. So I love the move. I'm happy for Norman, and I'm really excited to see him get to work over there.
Yeah, and I guess for me that is part of the reason why I was a little concerned about the move in the first place, was because of him joining Fareed Redmond there. Even though looking at the roster sheet here, they have him listed as a forward at 6'4". I still think that's more. I still think that's more of a guard, personally. But we'll see where Redmond ends up playing, where they end up playing side by side by each other. I think that if you do both on the floor at the same time, Redmond plays point guard and Norman Nations plays the 2, or you can flip flop one or the other. We'll see how they decide to do that, obviously. But I think that, again, that's where my concern comes from. And maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit, and it's fine. Of course, hats off to Norman Nations. Congratulations on the commitment to UConn, obviously, and taking that next step in your journey. He is joining some other former SimWorld Prep players, in Boo Boo Morgan and Kevin Sullivan as well. So I'm excited to see how all of them pair up together with each other as they get, going at UConn for the upcoming season. And I do think that this team has potential to be dangerous, though, next season for sure in SimWorld U. There's a lot of teams, though, that are making some really good moves, getting some commitments from players here in SimWorld Prep this season that are going to be. I think we'll see a lot of parity, really, next season in SimWorld U for sure. What are your thoughts on that, though, real quick, before we get on to our next topic here, Siege?
I'm just excited to see all these rosters shape out. See what's going on with it.
That's fair. Definitely understand that. Well, look, let's get on to our next topic, shall we? Because we saw the Queen City Kings and the H-Town Hoopers play last night in the second of our SimWorld TV broadcasted games last night, and Queen City ended up getting the win, 75-68. But my question for you, because of how Queen City's kind of played the last few games, and especially this one where I thought they were a matchup problem coming in, and it turned out that was in fact the case, and they ended up using their athleticism to make it difficult for H-Town. Do you think that Queen City, how dangerous can they be in the race to 1, in the run to 1?
Look, here's the thing about inconsistent teams, B-Ron. I could give you the nice public PC answer. This team's got a lot of really young talent. Marco Jacobs is a great player. They got a lot of really great players on this team. And inconsistency can be dangerous because you might get the team that beat Southeast Select 90-85 in that one game. You might.
Yeah.
Am I scared of them, though? Absolutely not. No. Look, no. Again, talented team. Coach Skinny Washington, love him. Great guy. Am I scared of him and Queen City Kings if I'm going up against them in their under one? Not at all. Not even a little. I'm gonna have respect for their players and the talent that the players have. I'm gonna game plan. I'm gonna make sure that my team is prepared. But I wouldn't put all the quarters in my pocket on a bet saying Queen City Kings would get a couple wins in the run to 1. And I'll tell you what, it's only 2 quarters, and I'm still not willing to do that. So no, I don't think they're scary. I think it's a scary thought that you might lose to them and that the whole world would see you lose to them. But I think that's about it.
Wow. So I don't think that, like you, I'm too concerned about them, but I do think that they pose a matchup problem for you. And as we know in these one and done tournaments, matchups are what make a lot of these games, and we saw it last night in that game against H-Town that they could pose a problem for you, especially if they get out and run early on. And if you're not ready for that, then you could be out of the game before you know it. However, with that being said, I think Maestro said it last night during the game. Something to the effect of, you never know what you're gonna get with Queen City. They can start out really good, or they start out really bad and have to get back into the game later on. And when it comes to being inconsistent and playing like they have all season, unfortunately, they haven't proven to me that they can be as dangerous as maybe their roster suggests that they probably should be in the grand scheme of things. And I don't understand why it hasn't been figured out yet. That's a bit baffling to me personally.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's crazy because when you talk about inconsistency, this team's the picture of it. They have games where they look like they absolutely could be a very complete team that could make a run. Marco Jacobs is a number one. He can score the ball at will.
Mm-hmm.
Very good scorer.
Yeah.
You got Toss Journey, who's come on really strong. Nick Hugo and Carter Fields are both super athletic, run the floor really well, and they've got decent shooters around those guys. For whatever reason, it wasn't meant to be for Queen City Kings this year. It just wasn't. I think the players, the fans, the coaches, they'll be happy to move on, maybe try to be a little better next year. All love to Coach Skinny and this Queen City Kings roster, but I got to keep it real. I'm not telling you guys anything you guys don't already know. This has not been a season that you're gonna put a picture frame on. And that's just
yeah. I'm prepared to see some comments on us being hard on them this morning. But enough of that. Let's get into our wrap up for the games that went on yesterday. Jafet Towns and the reigning Trays went in to play SimWorld Atlantis yesterday, and they got a win in overtime. So we're having to do it. They did it 74-66 behind Jafet Towns' 35 points in their OT win over SimWorld Atlantis. Jafet Towns, talking about being player of the year, showed why he maybe should be in the conversation still last night with the win.
The North traveled to take on the Originators, and that other player of the year candidate, Mr. Cooper Flagg, 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists on 60% shooting. He was unstoppable. Akeem Young putting on a great performance on the other end, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 7 blocks, but it wasn't enough. 68-61, Originators take it.
Yep, mentioned it a second ago. Queen City got the win over H-Town, 33 points from Marco Jacobs in the win. Final score 75-68. But Almighty Soul and Harrell Thompson and Vince Magic and Corey Yans all had good days on H-Town side. Wasn't enough though.
They're burning couches outside the Riot House. Last night, Heartland Zombie Stars take down Cascadia. Bernari James makes Kevon Jackson look like he can't play with him. 21, 6, and 5 for Bernari, only 6 points for Kevon Jackson. Heartland Zombie Stars take it.
Bay Area Breakers, their 6-man roster, not enough to beat SimWorld Latin America, and Red Joyner as he continues to have himself good games here. 72-67 win for SimWorld Latin America over Bay Area Breakers in their win yesterday. So great job to them getting it done. And that's going to wrap up the show for you all this morning. Thank you for joining us here on SimWorld today. We appreciate you all as always. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notify bell to know when all of our shows, games, streams, all that good stuff go live for you all here on SimWorld TV. And remember, until later on tonight, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game, be the game. See you tomorrow.